40 minutes. There were many things they said that I had issues with.
Council, we are aware of all this, and Senior Council, you had your time, and if we keep interjecting, then we will interfere with his time. We have already, we will add him some more time as a result of what we are doing. Kindly be patient, because you had 40 minutes.
I agree. Thank you very much. But only one sentence.
Yes.
He did not interject because we were talking sense.
Honorable Moses.
Chair, I think we want to urge Senior Counsel Khaminwa and my brother here to give him time to finish, because when they were also raising their issues, we kept quiet. Because I remember at one point, the mover talked of a fake minister, and we didn't raise anything. So let us allow him to proceed the way we allowed also first.
We have already said that. Please
Honorable
let us
Chair,
not interject.
the member is supposed to be neutral, so he's saying we didn't. I thought they are supposed to be the ones to say we. He is supposed to be a neutral arbiter in this thing, unless he declares.
We are a neutral team.
Chair,
yes.
we are talking
He said
about parliamentary language. We didn't interject.
He is referring to us as parliamentary committee, and we meant all of us. So please let us not do a lot of interjection, because that will consume a lot of his time and also interfere with the flow of his presentation. Thank you. You can resume.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. And I was saying it is because of these dangers of bias, prejudice, that our law forbids the use of character evidence, disposition evidence, similar fact evidence. Basically, all I'm saying is that this matter is not one in which we can judge Linturi for his so-called reputation. I now come to the mandate of this committee, Honorable Chair, as directed by the Speaker. The Speaker said these proceedings are quasi-judicial, and they have to be characterized by heightened degrees of conscientiousness, fairness, transparency, and whatnot. My understanding, Chair, of which I could be wrong, is that this committee is sitting as judges. You're not sitting in this committee in your capacity as members of the National Assembly. You're not sitting in this committee as representatives of whatever political formation.
I think we know our role. Can you focus on what brought us here? Fake fertilizer.
Honorable Omanyo, please. Please, there is a lot of interference.
Yes, but it's our roles. We know our role.
Can we listen to him first, and then we will make our judgment?
Point of order, Chair. I
Yes.
think let's go back to the basics, that for the opening remarks, somebody should not be interrupted. I think that is the basics of any
That
proceeding.
is what I'm trying to
It's
say.
unfortunate we allowed it, but I think, Chair, you need to assert that for opening remarks, there are no interruptions whatsoever, period.
And I wonder why we are getting emotional. Please let us be patient, let us listen, let us not jump and make conclusions. And we were very fair with Honorable Wamboka and his team. So I don't see why we should, always interject when the council is presenting. Please let us be patient and give him the remaining time, please.
Thank you, Chair. I was to say you sit in this committee as judges, and the only point I wanted to highlight in this, of all the things human beings do, Honorable Chair, of all the offices human beings occupy, it is only in the office of judge that a human being takes the position of God to pass judgment on another human being. The other things we do are temporal. The administration of justice is something divine because it elevates the human being making that decision to the level of God. That is why our Constitution in the third schedule, Honorable Chair, says justice is to be administered, quote unquote, without any fear, favor, affection, bias, ill will, prejudice, or any political, religious, or other influence. I'm humbly submitting to you that this is the applicable constitutional threshold. That oath of office for judges is the applicable constitutional threshold for resolving the matter before you. I'm here to very humbly tell you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, that justice is a two-sided coin. You know, a coin has two sides. There must be justice for farmers, but there must also be justice for the Honorable Linturi. An injustice to Honorable Linturi cannot be justice to farmers, just like an injustice to farmers cannot be justice to Honorable Linturi. And your duty as a select committee, therefore, is to inquire into this matter using that constitutional threshold that I've just alluded to, and to decide this matter as judges without fear, favor, and all those other things that I mentioned. When you see the motion before you, there is not a single act by Linturi, there is not a single act or omission disclosed on his part. On the contrary, what is before you are alleged acts of third parties. We are placed before you in document number 2 and in document number 21, evidence that shows that Linturi is not guilty of these allegations. We are here to tell you, when we get there, Honorable Chair, that this motion seeks to punish a single CS for what is the official policy of the government of Kenya. The fertilizer subsidy program is officially part of the program of the Kenya Kwanza government. The motion itself concedes this, and in fact it states in black and white that this program, this policy, was part of the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, and it was even put to the voters in the election. How is it, therefore, Honorable Chair, that if those are the facts as pleaded by the mover, we now isolate one cabinet secretary for what is considered in the motion to be part of the official government policy, and say this is the cabinet secretary who is liable for whatever went wrong with this policy? We will be asking you to check that the whole of Ground 2, as I said, is matters that predate the appointment. We'll be urging you, when we get there, to note that the mover has lied. L-I-E, Honorable Chair. They have misrepresented one of the many family and commercial and whatever disputes in which he tells you that the Honorable Justice Ongundi condemned Linturi and found him guilty of some things here and there. On the contrary, because we have produced that document before you, that judgment, we will invite you to read it. It is, I believe, at page 228 of our Badu, to ask yourself, is it true? And are we going to believe a mover who has the audacity to even lie to you on a document that is in the motion in black and white? He tells you this is what the judge decided. It's there. That's not what the judge decided. On the contrary, that ruling upheld the complaint that the Honorable Linturi addressed about the persecution by the previous administration, about the previous administration latching on to personal, family law and love matters to convert them into a tool for negative media campaign, as a tool for criminal arrest, as a tool for other forms of state-sponsored oppression. We will invite you to note at page 252, document number 10, that the matters were closed, as I told you. We will invite you through documents number 11 to 19, as I said, to note the courts, and I mentioned them, all of them, sitting in various stations, ruled in favor of Linturi. How can that material now, in which the courts ruled in favor of the Honorable Linturi, be the reason we are here? And lastly, Chair, so that I'll give my waiter at least 10 minutes, I want to come back to judging, because you're sitting here as judges, and I said judging is the only human enterprise where human beings take the seat of God and pass verdict on whether the behavior of other human beings is sinful, is criminal, is moral or immoral, and whatnot. And because it is something where we take the position of God by passing judgment, I am to reflect and ask myself, what does God teach us? Unfortunately, I'm not a religious man, and my interaction with religious texts, Honorable Chair, is sporadic and disjointed. But I tried the most I can to ask myself, what does, if we agree that judging, which is what you're doing, is the only activity in which we take the place of God? And I asked myself, from Islam, what do we learn? Because the dominant religions in Kenya are Islam and Christianity. In Islam, I checked one of the hadiths, Hadith 3566. The hadiths, Honorable Chair, are recordings of conversations the Holy Prophet is believed to have had with various actors and passed on the divine revelations to him. So this particular hadith is about judging, and it says, if I may read, judges are of three types, one of whom will go to paradise, and two to hell. The one who will go to paradise is a man who knows what is right and gives judgment accordingly. But a man who knows what is right and acts tyrannically in his judgment will go to hell. And a man who gives judgment for people when he is ignorant will go to hell. It's book 24 from, I think, Hadith 3566. You know, Chair, when I say you're acting in the place of God, because that's what the law permits you to do, if you doubt that you're actually in the place of God, the decision you make, there is no legal recourse against it, just like judgments passed by God. You know, the other judgments, we go in the lower courts and whatnot. You can appeal to the High Court, appeal to the Court of Appeal, appeal all the way to the Supreme Court. Yes.
I need to notify you that you have less than 9 minutes now, together with the time that we have added. We have added 5 more minutes because of the interruption.
Can I assume you will allow my friend the 10 minutes I had craved for? Unfortunately, all the interjections now sort of mumbled up my time consciousness.
Then that would mean you conclude and we allow...
Okay, just 1 minute I conclude, then Mawera will do 10 minutes. Honorable Chair. I asked myself what we learned from the Holy Bible about judging, and we are told one of the things in Matthew 7 is, let's be slow to judge, let the same measure be used to judge. Again, the same measure we use to judge others be used against us. We are told in another biblical text about judging the speck in your brother's eye and forgetting the log in your own eye. And why I ask this is the mover told you many things about the arrest of his spouse. And for me, the question is, where did he get the courage to move this motion when, as he was prosecuting it, his own spouse was defending herself in criminal proceedings for fraud? With those very many remarks, Chair, please allow me to call Mr. Mawira. And thank you very much for the time accorded to me.
What my learned senior Dr. Muthomi was alluding to, the issue of the judgment that the mover or the sponsor of this motion as referred to in allegation number 2. All these issues about love and affection. It is very unfortunate that as the Cabinet Secretary has to respond to these allegations, because from where we sit, they are really belittling of this committee. That this committee has to descend to that arena of love and affection. But because the Cabinet Secretary must respond, then we are compelled, Honorable Chair, to bring to your attention that there are 3 judgments a judgment and 2 rulings. There are 3 judicial decisions by the courts of this republic that in all the 3 judgments, the courts, judges are found in favor of Honorable Linturi that all these allegations of uttering false documents, procuring execution of documents through false pretenses, allegations of forgery and fraud. These 3 different courts sitting in different stations in the republic are found in his favor. And they have held in the judgment of 30th November that the mover has referred to in his motion, specifically ground 2,